A man was weighing the fruits that a lady had ordered for him, but when he went to weigh them he ended up pulling string that caused the weight to increase. He told her the amount and she said she didn't have the money to pay for all that because she had a granddaughter to raise. The man said that he understood the lady's motives, but that he didn't care about that, because he also had bills to pay. He then said he could give the woman a tomato, but she says that tomato was spoiled. He says that if she wanted, she could take it and then respond. Another woman walks up to the man and he asks if she would like to buy something. She said she'd like to buy some stuff from the man's store and he says the bell pepper was actually very pretty. He then weighs the bell pepper, but the woman says that she would like to buy an aubergine, but that he didn't have one. He says he didn't have eggplant at that time, so he tells the woman the price of the bell pepper. She is very surprised to see the price the man had said for just one bell pepper. She then said that she couldn't pay all that for the pepper and the man says that everything I was attending there won the highest level of quality. She said she was thinking about what she was going to do, but that the fruit she would like to buy, he wasn't selling. He then tells the woman the price he was charging for the bell pepper and the woman said she would buy it. She turns to start counting the bills, and in the meantime, the man is watching her body and he gets very excited about it. She then hands the money to the man and he picks up the bell pepper and hands it to her. He thanks her for the purchase and tells her that if she needed something, she could come back. Meanwhile, another woman was saying that if anything happened to her, it would be the other man's fault, but he said nothing would happen to her and tells her to hurry up. She then walks up to the man and he asks if she would like to buy something. He says she actually had a very nice body, but she gets mad about it. He then apologizes there, asks if she would like to buy something from his sale. She then starts looking for something and says that she would like to buy a watermelon, but she was seeing that he didn't have one to sell. He then says that he didn't have a watermelon to sell at that time, but if she wanted to, he could get her one. She asks if he had a storage room nearby, but he says he would get a watermelon for the woman wherever he goes. Meanwhile, the lady was asking the other woman for help, but the other woman tells the lady not to stay near her. The lady then says that she needed some help to take care of her granddaughter. The other woman says she didn't care about that and then the lady says that all she needed was a helping hand to be able to buy something to eat. The other woman then starts looking for something in her purse, but soon she gets annoyed by that situation of throwing the tomato that the lady was holding in her and then leaves. She then says that she would never help a lady like her and the lady wonders what the problem that woman had was. Meanwhile, the woman was looking for something in the man's shop and then she asked him if he had anything wrong with her. He says that she had said that she wanted to buy a watermelon, but that now he was just thinking about how the woman's body was really very beautiful and that he couldn't stop thinking about it. She says she didn't know what his problem was, but that she was just there to buy a piece of fruit and says she was only going to take that. He then tells her that she could stand next to him too, but she gets annoyed and tells him to stop that kind of comment with her. He apologizes and says he was just playing a prank on her. She tells him to stop saying those things to women and says that he was making her very uncomfortable with that situation. He tells her that she didn't need to be mad about it and that she was just complimenting her. He says that he didn't understand what had happened, because she left without buying anything, but that at least he had made a lot of money. At that moment, another man comes up to him and tells him that he had very beautiful fruits. The man thanks him and then the other man says that he wanted to buy it, but that he wanted to know if the fruits were good before. The man tells him to hurry up with it, which confuses the other man. The man tells him to hurry up as he was in a hurry. The other man says that the man had stayed with the other women for a long time, but the man says that unlike the other man, the women had bought something. The other man then said he was noticing something strange was going on there, but the man said he was just trying to sell his fruit. He says he was just trying to sell his fruit and get his money in an honest way. The other man then says that he didn't care about that and that he was just there to make sure the scale the man was wearing was correct. The man then asks who that person was and another man refuses to say. At that point, the man says he had remembered who that person was. The other man asks if the man knew him and the man says yes. Some time ago, the other man was telling the man that he could be in charge of his sale. The man says he'd like that, but the other man says the only thing he wanted was for the man to treat his customers well. The other man says that he was sure that this was fate, because the man had shown up at the time he needed help the most. The other man then tells the man that even though he had been next to the man the whole time watching him, he hadn't noticed his presence there. He says he saw the man treat every customer who came to his store badly that day and says it was something he didn't want to happen there. Earlier, the woman was asking what she was going to do with the money. The other man says she didn't have to worry about it because he had a plan. The woman then asks what they would do with that lady as she was not in the plans the other man had said, but he says that everything would work out. The woman then went to the lady and asked what had happened. She says that she needed help, as he had gotten that rotten tomato from the man, but that the other woman had thrown it to the ground. She says she needed help buying food for her granddaughter. The woman says that there were many bad people in the world, but that she wanted to do something for you. She hands her a large sum of money and tells her that she could buy a lot of food with it. The lady asks if she could really keep that money and the woman says yes. She says she didn't have to worry about the man either, as soon he would get what he deserved. She then helps the lady to her house. The other man says he knew what the man did with his customers. He says he knew that the man put on that string to increase the weight of things so that he could charge customers more. The man says he didn't know what the other man was talking about. Another man then says that he would see if that scale was working properly, but the man says he couldn't do that. At this moment, the woman arrives and asks, how can the man do that to that lady? The lady says that the man had sold her a spoiled piece of fruit and he had still insulted her. The woman asks how much the man had bought from the lady for that tomato and she says a lot. The man says that he couldn't do anything about it because he woke up too early to be able to work and that he wouldn't do any kind of charity for others. The other man then says that he knew the man had charged much more than he needed. The man says that he was just doing his job and that if they wanted to buy it, they would have to pay a price. The other man says that the man's job was not to treat customers badly. The woman and then says that the man treated people very badly. He then says that he was just doing his job and that if he wanted to buy it, they would have to pay for it. Another man is furious and says the man needs to leave. Some time ago, the other man was telling the woman that he needed her help to unmask his employee. He says they were telling him that his employee was doing wrong things and he needed the woman's help to prove it. The woman then asks if he really needed her help. He says he needed someone to help him prove what was going on. The man then says that he couldn't be fired, because he needed the job so much, but the other name says that he didn't care about that, because the man treated his customers very badly. He said that he was watching the man all the time, but that he was actually a terrible person. He says that on top of everything, he was also trying to get people to pay more than they had to. The man said that he really needed the job to be able to pay his bills, but the other man says that he didn't care about that, because the man was causing him to lose a lot of customers with the way he treated customers. The man then kneels at the other man's feet and tells him that he really needed that job. He asks for one more chance so he can continue working there, but the other man says he couldn't give the man any more chances. He says that the way the man treated customers caused him to lose a lot of customers and thus a lot of money. He says that the way the man handled the case would cause him to lose a lot of money and that he wanted the man to leave and never come back. The man says that someone else would regret it, because he was an excellent employee. When he leaves, the woman tells the lady that she was sorry she had been through this, but that they had been trying to resolve the situation for a long time. She says that now everything would be okay, and then the lady said that she thanked her very much for what they had done for her. The other man then says that, in the midst of so much arguing, he didn't have time to talk to the lady better. She said she didn't care about that, and then the other man said that, as she had already seen, his employee had been fired and that now he needed another employee. He said that he had realized that the lady was a very honest person and that she knew how to treat other people. He said he wanted to know if she could work for him and that his sister would agree to it. The woman says yes, and that if you wanted, you could work there. He then tells the lady that she reminded him a lot of his grandmother, because his grandmother always took great care of other people. He then said that he had a lot of affection for that store. He says that, despite having many other stores, that store has always meant a lot to him, for everything he had to go through to be able to conquer it. The lady says that she would be very happy to be able to work there. He then says that he was happy to hear this and that he was sure that now his store would grow much more.